In a world often divided by borders, politics, and perceptions of strangers, there exists something quietly astonishing: an unspoken network of help that stretches across continents, woven together not by governments or big institutions, but by ordinary people. People who, in moments of crisis, become the unseen guardians of each other's lives. This is a story about that unseen thread, about how, when catastrophe strikes, neighbors, strangers, even distant communities reach out, without hesitation, without expectation, simply because they can. Because they believe that no one should face disaster alone. And because, at our core, humans are wired for connection even in the darkest hours. It begins at the edge of war zones, where stories of survival often read like disasters in headlines: families displaced, homes destroyed, futures dismantled. Yet amid the chaos, quietly, almost invisibly, local networks form. Not formal charities, not aid agencies, just people helping people. In one corner of Ukraine, there's a woman named Olga. When her city was shelled beyond recognition, it was her neighbor, a man she'd never spoken to before, who showed up with a battered van. He didn't ask questions, Olga recalls, clutching a mug of tea now, years later. He just helped us pack what we could, took us away from the fighting. No insurance, no reason other than instinct to protect. That instinct, perhaps the most fundamental act of human kindness, connects far beyond Olga's street. It's a secret network that triggers in moments of despair, powered not by institutions, but by something deeper: trust, empathy, a shared understanding that no one should be alone. And it's not just in war zones. In flooded villages in Southeast Asia, in hurricane-ravaged towns in the Caribbean, similar stories emerge. Ordinary people opening their homes, strangers sharing food, communities forming impromptu rescue crews with no prior training, just a collective will to survive together. But how does this happen? How do complete strangers become lifelines amid chaos? Anthropologists call it a social glue, an innate drive to look after each other when the world feels most fragile. And yet, this network often remains hidden, unspoken, unrecorded, until a crisis makes it impossible to ignore. I spoke with Dr. Sarah Klein, a researcher studying volunteer networks in disaster zones. She explained, in times of upheaval, people instinctively seek out others who need help. It's a primal, almost biological response, like an embedded part of our humanity. But what's remarkable is the scale and reach of these acts, often happening far from the eyes of the world. Take a moment and consider the math. Thousands, sometimes millions, of small acts of kindness happening simultaneously, without any headline or headline maker. It's as if, in the face of global destruction, humanity's most astonishing feature emerges: compassion, spontaneously, authentically, unconditionally. Yet, why do these acts matter? Why should we pause to notice what often goes unseen? Because they reveal the truth that even at our most vulnerable, we are most human. We are not isolated islands, but parts of a vast, interconnected web of trust where a helping hand can ripple outward, sparking hope in places where despair seemed guaranteed. In Greece, after the devastating wildfires, volunteer groups organized overnight. Strangers with shovels, cooking tents, and battered cars. An elderly man named Giannis took in a family of refugees, not because he thought it was his duty, but because he saw their tears and remembered his own lost childhood. In Kenya, during droughts that starve entire villages, women form help circles, sharing what little water they have, working together not just to survive, but to restore hope. And these stories, though geographically distant, share a common thread: the belief that no one is truly alone, that even in the chaos, humanity rises, that strangers can, and often do, become the most vital part of each other's survival. What's extraordinary is that these networks don't always require grand gestures or heroic acts. Sometimes it's just someone leaving a bag of groceries on a neighbor's doorstep in the dead of night, or a child walking miles to deliver medicine to a friend trapped by floodwaters. But lurking behind these acts is something deeper: a quiet resistance to despair, a testament to our innate sense that no one should be abandoned. That in crisis, we find out not just what we're capable of, but who we truly are. And perhaps that's the most profound revelation of all. Because as unstoppable as global crises are climate change, war, pandemics, they expose something else, an unseen network of resilience, stitched together by countless acts of kindness that refuse to be silenced. In the end, the story of the Invisible Help Network isn't just about crises. It's about us. About every time we choose to look beyond ourselves, to reach out, to trust that even a stranger can become our greatest ally. It's a reminder, one that echoes louder in times of upheaval, that within the chaos, there exists a quiet, unstoppable force. The force of people helping people. And maybe that's the most beautiful truth we'll ever discover. No matter how dark the night, the light of human kindness can quietly, invisibly, burn brighter than we ever realize.